Hey guys, Jesse from Fulla Strength and Conditioning here with tip number 49 of my 90 fitness tips in 90 days. Just trying to get this in the right spot. There we go. So today's video, guys, I want to touch on the topic of running. So I'm not going to waste too much time. I want to give you guys my thoughts on running and ways that you can actually figure out whether it's going to be good for you or whether it's a type of training that maybe you should avoid. So a lot of people start, they start their running as their first course of action to lose body weight or body fat. And I think it's just our default sort of mechanism as humans. When we think of exercising, generally there's a pattern or there's a style that we can connect with pretty quickly, and for most people, it's running. When we were kids, you run around. That's exercise. That's activity. So I just want to share my thoughts on running and whether I think it's a good way for you to lose weight, if it's more something for stress reduction, or whether it's something you should avoid. So for me personally, this is my sort of own journey and what I use running for. I use running in the nature of sport. So I play football. I play football in the NPL, so that's the highest level that I can actually play before a professional level. So for me in my sport, I need to be able to run. That's a no-brainer for football. I'm talking round football here, by the way. You need to have the capacity to run. So that's sort of my main modality or the main style of running. Now, that type of running, it's not steady state. So what I mean by that, it's just not like you're doing laps around and round an oval, okay? The type of running that's involved in sport is more intermittent. So that's where you have short, sharp bursts of work, okay? So I wouldn't necessarily call, obviously it is running, but I'm not, it's a different type of running as, say, for example, someone going for a jog. They set out and they go do 10, 20, 30, 40, 60 plus minutes in one stretch. With regards to sport, there's a lot more intermittent, change of direction, sprint, stop. Then it's sort of a little bit intermittent, and then you sprint again. So I just want to go over the two differences in those training styles, and then I'll touch on sort of whether or not it could be useful for you. So if you have a look at different body types for say, the average Joe and people playing sports, for me, maybe it's because I've been associated with sports for quite a long time, and that's maybe where I get a lot of enjoyment, and I do a lot of research into, sporting performance. There's a different body type for the different sort of training styles. The steady state would be people sort of, a little bit, for lack of a better word, skinny fat. They don't hold a lot of lean mass. What I mean by that is they don't hold a lot of muscle, but they can run, which is fine. On the other aspect, if you look at, I follow sport at a high level. You have a look at the people in that sort of realm, and they're a lot leaner. They're more muscular, they're more athletic, for lack of a better word. So if you don't like running, guys, sport can be a fantastic way for you to actually get fit, but also change your body composition. So rather than sort of having not a lot of muscle mass, if you go into a sport, you're going to be subject to more change of direction. You're going to go left, you're going to cut, you're going to jump, you're going to have to decelerate, accelerate, which is going to create more muscular tension. And if you do things at a high level, so for example, sprints, you're going to activate a lot more muscle fibers, and therefore you have the potential to grow more muscle. You don't have that same capacity and that same ability when, you're just trotting, doing a comfortable jog for, say, 10, 20, 30 minutes, because the intensity is not high enough. Now, on the other side, on the flip side of the coin, if you do choose to do steady state cardio as your main type, I want you to have a look in the mirror. What do you currently look like? So this is me in the flesh. So this is me. I'm wearing a comfortable jumper, but that's me. This is my body. This is what I'm dealing with. Okay. So, if you can look yourself in the mirror and have a general assessment. So just have a look in the mirror, and you don't have to be detailed. Just have a look. Am I big? Am I small? That's it. Am I overweight? Am I underweight? Am I in a position where, you know, I'm comfortable with where I'm at in terms of weight? Now, you're probably thinking, what the hell has that got to do with running? Well, it has everything to do with running. Because when you go hit the pavement or go and run around a track or an oval, every single time your foot hits the ground, it's a foot strike. Okay, if you're overweight and you go and start doing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 plus minutes of running, every single time your foot hits the ground, you're putting pressure, you're putting stress on your joints. Your hips, knees and ankles are copying a lot of stress and strain each foot strike that you take. Now, like I said, if you're overweight, that's probably not going to be the best type of training for you at this present point in time. However, it's not to say you shouldn't do it. It just means that perhaps you should start with a low volume. So, for example, maybe once a week or twice a week. So that will give you a time for the muscles, the joints, the ligaments and tendons, time to actually adapt to each bout that you do. So that's called adaptation. The body adapts to a given stimulus or training method, which in this case would be the steady state runs. So if you think about it, if you're overweight, if you're big, you need to minimize the amount of running that you do. Okay, and it comes down to joint stress. It also comes down to strength levels. If you're not very strong, if you haven't been doing any sort of resistance training or any training or exercise at all, the chances are you're going to be weak. And that's not going to be good. If you're going to try and push your body to increase your time that you run every single session, you know, the strength levels and the joint capacity, it's not there. It doesn't match. You're trying to get your body to do this when your body's only at this level, which, you know, it doesn't make sense, and it's not appropriate for where you're currently at. So those are my thoughts on running, guys. I think, like I said, we'll just recap it for anyone who's just jumping in. If you are overweight, my recommendation would be to do probably once or twice a week tops. You should also incorporate some type of interval or intermittent style speed work. So that would be where you either transition from, say, a walk to a jog or a jog to a high-paced jog, and you alternate between those two different speeds. So the reasoning for it's not because I'm anti-running. That's the furthest thing from the truth. It's in terms of joint, ligament, tendon stress. If you are overweight, you're going to be putting more pressure on your hips, knees, and ankles every single foot strike that you do. Until you've done a couple runs, you know, some lower level stuff to start with, and also incorporate some weightlifting. So yes, that means go lift, do squats, do deadlifts, do presses. If you can increase your overall strength, you are going to find running easier down the track, and you're going to have more muscles to actually stabilize the joints that you're putting pressure on, hips, knees, and ankles, once again. So that's my take on running, guys. If you're overweight, my advice would be tighten up nutrition. Start small, do 1 to 2 runs per week, or incorporate, like I said, the interval or intermittent work. And then if you do get yourself to a capacity where, you know, you're looking to maintain weight or just get that a little bit leaner, but you don't like running, doing a sport could be fantastic for you. So pick something that you enjoy doing. It might be basketball, it might be netball. Just be careful of those hips, knees, and ankles even further, as long as you have the correct technique. Yes, there's a technique for change of direction, jumping, landing. If it's football or if it's rugby, whatever it is, can be a fantastic way to get you to that next level where, you know, the intensity's up, you're working higher threshold motor units, so you're contracting muscles very quickly, give you a chance to develop more muscles, more power, and increase your ceiling so you can run faster and put less stress and pressure on those joints. Whew. That's it, guys. It was a fairly long one, but, you know, I'd rather give you guys too much information than hold things back and then have you go away and say, he didn't really explain X, Y, and Z. So I hope that covers my thoughts on running. Like I said, It's not for everyone. Have a real good look at yourself in the mirror. What do I currently look like? Do I have a belly? Do I struggle just standing for long periods of time? If that's the case, then running's probably not the best thing for you, at least initially. Okay, that's it, guys. Let me know your thoughts on running. Do you run? Do you jog? Do you walk? I'd love to hear from you. Give me some feedback. Put some comments down below. Comments down in the section below, guys. I'd love to hear from you and see where you're at with regards to running. That's it, guys. I will speak to you tomorrow. Have a lovely public holiday, and I will see you people tomorrow. Bye-bye.